sure you have a plan or have paid your Buncombe County property bill. Now that our county offices have reopened, the tax department is available for in-person payments. Parking for our tax department is located at the lot across the street from 94 Cox Avenue, and that is in downtown Asheville, and that parking is free. Please be aware, North Carolina law does not allow property tax waivers or exceptions due to natural disasters. Regardless of circumstances stemming from Hurricane Helene, property taxes are still due by January 6th. But our tax office is here to help you figure out a plan. They have payment plans available without interest. So contact us as soon as possible so we can get that worked out for you. We do see those lines get pretty long as we get closer to January 6th. The tax office is open Monday to Friday from 8 to 5. Of course, they will be closed tomorrow and Friday. And you can call 828-250-4910 for help on alternative ways to pay your tax bill, setting up a payment plan, and more. We have frequently asked questions about tax bills and hurricane-related tax information at www.buncombecounty.org/tax. Tomorrow, Thursday, November 27th, will be a Code Purple Day. That's because of the cold weather that's coming in. Code Purple is a coordinated effort between Asheville and Buncombe County shelters and other organizations to provide emergency overflow shelter during cold weather to help people experiencing homelessness. Code Purple will continue to be called during the incredibly cold weather that's headed our way. This means that shelters will provide more beds with fewer requirements than their typical programming. Code Purple sites will also work with participants to refer them to ongoing shelter and housing options. So those Code Purple shelter locations are ABCCM at 20th Street, and this is for single men. Intake starts at 4 p.m. and it's accessible via transit route WE2 at Bear Creek Road. ABCCM Transformation Village is also available for single women and children. It is at 30 Olin Haven Way. Intake also starts at 4 p.m. and it's accessible via transit route W2. Of course, bus transit to Code Purple shelters is also free. Clay Chandler and Deborah Camel will be here from the city later with some more cold weather preparation tips for your water pipes. So we'll let them cover that as this cold front comes in our way. Asheville and Buncombe have a Rebuilding Together grant fund, and today is the last day to apply. So local businesses, if you're affiliated with one of our local businesses, you'll want to listen up. So for-profit businesses in Buncombe and the city of Asheville are eligible for grants of up to $25,000 to support recovery expenses not covered by insurance or other funding sources. Applications are open today only and can be found at mountainbizworks.org/AB grants. Now, this has been open for a while, so it's not just a one-day thing, but today is the deadline to submit that. Applications are also available in Spanish. The deadline to apply for disaster unemployment assistance is also coming up. Monday, December 2nd is that last day to apply for Buncombe County residents who missed or continue to miss work because of the storm. The fastest way to file a claim is to file online at des.nc.gov. And I know that our folks will put that link in the chat for folks who are watching on Facebook. Again, that's des.nc.gov. If you have any questions, you can call the Disaster Unemployment Hotline. Now, this is a state assistance program, so that phone number is 919-629-3857 for English and 919-276-5698 for Spanish. This is open Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 7 p.m., Saturday from 8 to 5 p.m., and Sunday from noon to 4. Next week, our mobile health team will change their vaccination schedule. Of course, winter season means more people will get the flu. So get your free flu vaccines. I heard on NPR this morning, only a third of adults have gotten their flu vaccines. So please come out and let us help you. Next week, Buncombe County's public health mobile team will be providing free flu and other vaccines on Monday, December 2nd at Bethel United Methodist Care Station and Skylanes Bowling Alley from 11 to 4. Tuesday, December 3rd at Bounty and Soul Market at 55 Adams Hill Road in Asheville. And Wednesday, December 4th at the AB Tech Stronger Together Resource Fair. So if you haven't heard, the AB Tech is sponsoring the Stronger Together Community Resource Fair to help everyone in the community connect with essential resources to assist in the storm recovery journey and beyond. So we've put up the flyer on the screen. The resource fair is on Monday, December 4th. That is Wednesday, December 4th, from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Again, Wednesday, December 4th, 10 to 1 p.m. at the AB Tech campus in the Ferguson Auditorium building at 340 Victoria Road. Buncombe County will be there along with the city of Asheville, FEMA, Land of Sky, United Way, NC Works, Manna Food Bank, and others. And this is a great opportunity to get help with hurricane recovery, including applications, donations, employment, and more. So we do encourage you to come by. We'll all be there, and that'll be a one-stop shop to get a lot of questions answered. One of those questions may be around private property debris removal. More than 400 Buncombe County property owners have already applied to have qualified disaster debris removed from their property at no cost through the private property debris removal program. This program also covers the demolition of eligible unsafe structures. So there's 3 things that you need to know about private property debris removal. 1, you can visit any one of our private property debris removal application centers located at the Asheville Mall, Barnardsville Fire Department, Swananoa Fire on Bee Tree Road, not the one in Beacon Village, and Fairview Library. These will be closed tomorrow, but the Barnardsville and Swananoa Fire and Fairview Library locations will be open on Friday. Second thing you need to know, applications can be submitted online at buncombeready.org. And the third thing to know, private property debris removal is different than debris collection on public right-of-ways. Private property debris removal is where crews have to enter your property to collect that, and the debris is not in the public right-of-way. For questions, call our One Buncombe hotline at 828-250-6100, and you'll select option 2 there to talk directly to them. Also, starting on Monday, the Low-Income Energy Assistance Program will offer one-time heating bill help for low-income households. This is not directly related to the storm, but it is available. So payments go directly to heating vendors. Eligible households include ones that have a member 60 or older or who has a disability receiving the NC Division of Aging Services. They receive food and nutrition services, and they received these services last winter. Those households that have already been enrolled in previous years meeting the requirements will be notified, and they don't need to apply. Beginning January 2nd, 2025, all other eligible households who meet the eligibility requirements may begin applying. So that application is at epass.nc.gov. You can also call our Economic Services office in the Health Department at 828-250-5500 or go in person to 40 Cox Avenue. Please note, we'll be closed on Thursday. Our water and distribution sites and community care stations also will be closed tomorrow for the holiday. They will open again on Friday. Important changes are coming to both community care stations and water distribution sites as potable water has returned to homes. At the end of the day on December 2nd, all water distribution sites and community care stations in the city and county will close, with the exception of 4 community care stations that are in our most impacted communities. Those are Morgan Hill Baptist Church at 594 Barnardsville Highway, Bethel United Methodist at 1050 Riceville Road, Owen Pool at 117 Stone Drive in Swannanoa, and the Fairview Ingles at 225 Charlotte Highway by Reynolds High. These will remain open to continue to serve residents in these highly impacted areas. I know I've received several emails from folks who have reached out about free medical services at the Swannanoa Ingles location and rumors about it closing. Those services are provided by Emergency Response Logistics. The county has not requested that they demobilize at that Swannanoa Ingles location. As we understand it, they don't have plans to demobilize from there. Emergency Response Logistics self-deployed, so they are not a function of the county or of FEMA. So any determinations about their services are independently made by them. Their leadership has, however, shared that they are working with Ingles to relocate on that campus as the Swannanoa Ingles or Swingles is working to get their gas pumps back online, which I know folks in my neighborhood are ready to have more gas options close by. So today we have guests from the county, including Bob Haynes, our permits director, Chris Brown, our deputy fire marshal, who are going to share some key updates before we turn things over to city manager Deborah Campbell and Asheville Water Public Information Officer Clay Chandler. But first, we'll start with Bob Haynes.
Good morning, everyone. Bob Haynes, Buncombe County Permits and Inspections Director. Buncombe County has experienced a tremendous loss. The last thing that we need in our community right now is additional loss of life. People living in structures that are not built to the minimum life safety requirements from the building codes can have a false sense of security, and the reality is that structures not built to code pose a life safety risk. Our department's performed 2,100 damage assessment inspections, and of those, 314 structures are considered totally destroyed. I understand that the process for making repairs or rebuilding can seem overwhelming, but we want to help our community understand the process and the importance of rebuilding and making repairs safely. It's important to understand that home repairs or rebuilds due to Tropical Storm Helene meet the North Carolina State Building Code requirements. And the purpose of the state building codes are to provide safeguards for the safety of life and property from fire, proper egress requirements, structural stability, light and ventilation, sanitation to protect the public health, energy conservation. All of those are the minimum requirements to ensure a safe environment for people to reside. Permitting the work and following the codes is all about safety. If you're in a situation where you are living in substandard conditions, there are options through FEMA assistance. You do not have to choose between a tent and a safe shelter. So far, there are over 160 households that have been approved for FEMA approved housing options. We encourage those who may have been impacted by this storm to please apply for FEMA assistance. Homeowners and renters affected by the disaster can apply for the federal assistance in several ways: online at the FEMA website, through the FEMA app, or by calling the 1-800-621-3362. Those links and everything should be shared online and posted in the chat. And once you've applied for assistance, FEMA will take care of the whole process from there. They know how to obtain the permits and everything else like that. So we've done several of these already and working close with FEMA to make sure that all those are installed properly. If you have repairs that you're doing on your own, please reach out to our office and we can guide you through the process. We understand, again, it may be overwhelming, but we're here to help. We have already processed over 1,000 permits related to storm damaged structures, residential and commercial properties. And the steps for obtaining permits for damaged structures, first thing you want to do is ask a contractor for their license number. Each trade in North Carolina, electrical, plumbing, heating, building, they all have a board that controls their license and monitors their license. So ask for their license number. Go to that website for that particular trade. Verify that they're giving you the correct information. Obtain multiple bids from these contractors. And if you have questions, continue just to call our office. You can call me directly, or my number is 250-5388. Our main number for our office is 250-5360. Only call the office if you have permitting questions. If you have a complaint, you don't like what you were told, call me directly. First step in that is to start with our planning department to obtain approval for your rebuild or even a repair to make sure you're not substantially damaged. Then you can apply for the building permit. Those permits are free through the end of December per North Carolina legislation. So you can reach our office at 30 Valley Street. We're open Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. 250-5360. We'll take questions at the end of the briefing.
Thank you, Bob. And I was talking to the farmer who I picked my turkey up from last weekend, and they had a landslide on their property that went up to their house, and they wanted me to pass along their gratitude for how helpful the permits department has been in their process for rebuilding. So kudos to you and your staff on that. Next, we'll hear from Chris Brown, Buncombe County Deputy Fire Marshal.
Thank you, Lily. My name is Chris Brown. I am the Deputy Fire Marshal here in Buncombe County. Fire safety is critical for every community. In 2022, the U.S. Fire Departments responded to 1.3 million fires, resulting in 3,400 civilian deaths, 15,000 injuries, and $14.8 billion in property damage. Cooking fires lead the statistics, accounting for 49% of home fires and 48% of cooking fire deaths are often due to unattended equipment. To keep our community as safe as possible during the holidays and into the cold weather, the Buncombe County Fire Marshal's Office would like to reinforce some key holiday safety tips. Thanksgiving is the peak day for home cooking fires, followed by Christmas Day and Christmas Eve. According to national data from 2022, the leading cause of home fires typically include cooking fires, which account for 49% of home fires in the U.S. 31% of reported home cooking fires and 48% of cooking fire deaths are a result of unattended equipment. And 66% of home cooking fires start from food and other cooking materials catching on fire, and ranges and stovetops account for 62% of home cooking fire occurrences. Please remember the following best practices. Stay in the kitchen when frying, grilling, or broiling food. Set a reminder to remind you of your cooking times. Keep anything that can catch fire away from your stovetop. Ensure a 3-foot kid-free zone around your cooking area. Turn pot handles away from the stove's edges and use the back burners when possible. When cooking, wear short, close-fitting, and tightly rolled sleeves. If you have a fire in your microwave, turn it off immediately and keep the door shut. Small grease fires should be extinguishing by smothering the flames. Never use water. For oven fires, turn off the oven. Leave the door closed. Plug your microwave directly into an outlet. Do not use an extension cord that can overload the circuit. And keep a fire extinguisher close by and available in the kitchen. Heating equipment, electrical fires, and smoking related fires are also common sources of fires. High-level guidance includes avoiding overloading circuits and unplug cords when not in use. Extinguish cigarettes safely and avoid smoking near oxygen. Be sure to install alarms on every level of your home, including outside your sleeping areas. If you close your doors at night, which is a good practice, make sure to install smoke alarms inside those bedrooms also. Test those regularly and replace those every 10 years. Use CO alarms, inspect appliances annually, and never use generators indoors. Locally, the Buncombe County Fire Marshal's Office has responded to 124 incidents this year. First responders will be working hard to keep our community safe as always, with wildfire risk still remaining moderate. It's vital to remain vigilant. Fire safety starts with awareness and action. By adopting safe practices and sharing knowledge, we can reduce risks and protect lives. Thank you for your commitment to keeping our community safe this holiday season.
Thank you, Chris. Next, we'll hear from City of Asheville City Manager Deborah Campbell and Water PIO Clay Chandler.
Thank you, Lillian, and good morning. As stated, my name is Deborah Campbell, and I serve as the City Manager of Asheville. As usual, I want to start by thanking everyone in the community for your continued support and your ongoing efforts to contribute to our community's recovery from Tropical Storm Helene. But I want to also take this opportunity to thank those of you both near and far that have sent me personally cards, letters, and emails thanking me and city staff for our service and help with the storm recovery efforts. Those kind words and expressions of gratitude inspire, motivate, and strengthen us. We are on day 63 of our emergency response and recovery efforts. Today, as was stated by Lillian, Clay and I will provide brief updates on a variety of topics, including preparing your home during cold weather, in particular your plumbing, and respond to a question that was asked yesterday about the status of our lead testing efforts. And that information will be covered by Water Public Information Officer Clay Chandler. I will follow Clay with an update on city closures, water and meal distribution, and storm debris removal. And I'll close with a Thanksgiving message. Clay?
Thank you, Ms. Campbell. All right, y'all kind of bear with me. I kind of have a terrible cough. Follow up on the question we got asked yesterday about number of requests for lead testing kits. Right now, that number has surpassed 5,000. We still get between 50 and 100 new requests every day. And the normal turnaround time is 4 to 6 weeks. And so we haven't gotten any results back yet. We are working on some things, hopefully that will decrease that turnaround time, but I don't have any details about that yet. Hopefully we'll have some details to provide at some point next week. And I think Lillian mentioned the resource fair. City of Asheville Water Resources will be there and will be passing out lead testing kits for those who would like one. Okay. It's going to get cold this weekend, especially for those of us who were born and raised in Mississippi, where it never gets cold. And so some tips to prevent frozen water pipes in your home. Most of these are common sense, starting with disconnecting and draining all your outdoor garden hoses and covering your outside faucets. Keep your garage doors closed if there are water supply lines in your garage. Open kitchen and bathroom cabinet doors to allow warmer air to circulate around the plumbing. Identify the location of the main water valve and the valve on your water heater. Learning the location of these valves will come in handy during an emergency. Wrap pipes nearest exterior walls and in crawl spaces with insulation or heating tape. This will prevent freezing, especially for interior pipes that run along outside walls. Excuse me. Keep the thermostat set to the same temperature day and night by temporarily suspending the use of lower nighttime temperatures. You may incur a little bit higher heating bill, but that could very well prevent a much more costly repair job if your pipes freeze and burst and spray water all over the inside of your attic or your living room or your kitchen or wherever. Close all your windows near the water pipes. Cover or close open air vents. Freezing temperatures combined with wind drafts can cause pipes to freeze more frequently. During really cold weather, open the cold and hot water tap and let the water run at a trickle to keep the water in the pipes moving. It's a lot harder for pipes to freeze if that water is moving just a little bit. If you let it sit there, you really increase the chances of that freezing. If a faucet does not have separate hot and cold water handles, drip lukewarm water. And if you're going away this weekend, traveling to see family for the holiday, there's a couple of things we recommend you do. Set the thermostat in your house no lower than 55 degrees. If it's possible, ask a friend or a neighbor to check your house daily to make sure it's warm enough to prevent freezing. And if you do have a pipe freeze, if a faucet or pipe inside your house freezes, you can thaw it using a good hair dryer. Obviously, you don't want to use a hair dryer around standing water. That creates a hazard as far as electrocution goes. When thawing a pipe, start thawing it nearest to the faucet. Make sure the faucet is turned on so that melted water can drip out. That will speed up that process. Never try to thaw frozen pipes with torches or other means using extreme heat or a flame, because as fun as that sounds, if a water line is heated too quickly, it will explode. And obviously that will cause serious injury. If a pipe burst, shut off your water system at the main valve. If the break is in a hot water pipe, the valve on top of the water heater should be closed. Call a plumber. Keep an emergency number on hand for a plumber to shorten that process if that happens. If you believe that the water meter is frozen, contact Water Resources at 828-251-1122. We'll send a meter tech out to check to ensure that water is coming through your meter. And again, a reminder, all pipes and plumbing on the house side of the meter are considered private and are the customer's responsibility. So just prepare yourself for the cold weather coming in this weekend. Like I said, those of us who grew up in Mississippi, it feels super cold. And I hope all of you have a wonderful Thanksgiving and a wonderful time with your family, friends, and loved ones.
Thank you, Clay. I'm going to start my remarks with city closures. The City of Asheville offices will be closed tomorrow, November 28th and 29th, in observance of the Thanksgiving holiday. Our art bus service will not run on Thanksgiving. Normal bus service will resume on November the 29th. Trash and recycling collection will be suspended on Thanksgiving Day, November 28th, and the sanitation offices will be closed. Customers with Thursday trash and recycling collection will be collected on Friday, November 29th. The vast majority of the City of Asheville's parks are open following Hurricane Helene, though Some have areas that are partially closed and others are completely closed. Open and partially open parks welcome the community daily from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. A full list of parks with their status is available at asheville.nc.gov/parks. All Asheville Parks and Recreation Community Center buildings are closed on November 28th and November 29th, but outdoor amenities on their campuses, such as playgrounds, sports courts, and fields, and picnic tables, are open from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. Staff will be on 24-hour availability for water-related emergencies over the holiday. Customers can call the customer service line at 828-251-1122 to report water-related emergencies, such as leaks, breaks, or service interruptions. All public safety services, including police, fire, and emergency response, will operate on a normal schedule, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Now I'll provide an update on water and meal distribution sites in the city of Asheville. As of this morning, our sites have distributed more than 3.8 million bottles and 1 liter cartons of drinking water, 22,391 gallons of potable water, 257,000 gallons of non-potable water, 245,335,000 meals ready to eat, and 2,800 blankets for warmth. Food and water distribution sites, as have noted, will be closed tomorrow, November 28th, for Thanksgiving Day. Our distribution sites will reopen on Friday, November the 29th, from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. and remain open over the weekend. Again, as a reminder, city water and meal distribution sites and community care stations will permanently close at 7 p.m. on Monday, December 2nd. As of this morning, our debris contractors have collected almost 134,000 cubic yards of storm debris. Storm debris will not be collected on Thursday, November 28th for the holiday. Today, the contractor will have 26 trucks running. The zones will be as follows: 1 in Zone 1, West Asheville, 1 in Zone 2, West Asheville, north of Haywood Road, 4 in downtown Asheville, 10 in Zones 4 and 5, which are north and northeast Asheville, 6 in Zone 6, East Asheville, 4 in Zones 7 and 8, which is southeast and south Asheville, and 1 white good crew. And now for my Thanksgiving message. In this season of giving thanks, we find ourselves in a unique position. We have experienced one of the most devastating storms Western North Carolina has ever seen, and yet our community stands tall, From the moment the storm hit, Ashevilleans opened their homes to strangers, shared resources, and offered comfort to those in need. We've seen neighbors helping neighbors, businesses donating supplies, and organizations rallying behind our city. In the last couple of weeks, we've seen potable water restored, the reopening of businesses and parks, a festival to support the River Arts District, and a downtown holiday jamboree event. This Thanksgiving, let's especially give thanks for the strength of our community, the dedication of our first responders, the tireless work of our city staff, the mayor and city council members, and the unwavering aid from our county, state, and federal partners. Your tireless support and your incredible generosity have been the bedrock of our recovery efforts. We have a long way to go, but we are making steady progress, and we will build back better. The resilience and spirit of our community is truly something to celebrate and be thankful for. Happy Thanksgiving, Asheville.
Thank you. With that, we will turn this over to questions from the media who are on a separate Zoom link. If we have questions.
Hi, this is Gerard with Blue Ridge Public Radio.
Hey, Gerard.
Hi, had a question for the county. It's been just about 2 months since the storm, and the county and the state haven't released any of the names of the folks who have been deceased. Is there any reason for that?
So that is managed through the Office of the State Medical Examiner. And so the state Office of the State Medical Examiner would be the appropriate authority to contact for the names of those who lost their lives in this storm.
Gotcha. Is that not something, I know this is a extreme event, but is this not something that the county usually can or will release when someone dies within the county?
So because it's related to this storm and because we had the medical officer set up a outpost here to manage that, it would not be appropriate, just like it wouldn't be appropriate for the county to talk about operations that the State Highway Patrol manages. We must defer to the appropriate agency in that case. And in this one, it is the case, it is the responsibility of the Office of the State Medical Examiner. They have an extensive process that they use for identifying these people who are friends, our neighbors, my neighbors, our loved ones who lost their lives. And they have an extensive process for working directly with those families. And so we absolutely are not going to go outside of their process and do anything that may cause further harm to a community that's already suffered so much loss.
Of course, yeah, and I appreciate that, and I don't mean to sound like I'm pushing the county or saying they're doing anything wrong in that regard. Just kind of asking those questions for process's sake, and so we know. And I guess the last one I have is just, are you guys, is the state department that's handling that in communication with y'all, about those folks? Like the county has that knowledge, it's just the process of the state to release them, or?
The county does not have a list of names, if that is your question, Gerard. We do not maintain that list. We have not asked for that list from the State Medical Examiner, and that is not something that they would customarily provide in an instance like this.
Gotcha. Thank you so much.
Hey, Lillian, it's John Boyle with Asheville Watchdog. I actually have a question for you. I think you can answer. You probably have answered this, but someone asked about FCC Environmental and the new trash cans. They apparently, when they called their customer service, they were told that they won't be able to use existing trash receptacles, including bear carts. And they're wondering if they can keep their bear carts, and also what's going to happen to these other cans, or are they going to end up in the Buncombe County landfill?
Heck no. So heck no to the cans. So absolutely, you can use your bear carts. Now, like everyone else who is setting up a business and hiring and establishing new employees, I'm afraid some people have gotten some wrong information from the call center. But if you have purchased a bear cart, you 100% can keep that bear cart. We will not take that bear cart away from you when we collect bear carts. What they will do is they will affix a sticker to it, or some way to identify that cart has subscribed to the new service, so that it will remain in service. So yes, keep that bear cart. No, you don't have to buy a new bear cart. That would be an absolutely unfair thing to ask of our community. Second part of that question, what happens to the old cans? Those cans belong to Waste Pro. So Waste Pro is actually going to come collect those. And so FCC is going to follow the Waste Pro route. Now, it may not be a Waste Pro truck driving with a FCC truck right behind it, but within the same amount of time span, 24, 36 hours, once those Waste Pro cans are collected by Waste Pro, FCC will drop off the new cans, all one color. And And so those cans will be in service even if Waste Pro is still collecting garbage through January 1st. So if you're like me, next week, you're kind of expecting to get your new FCC environmental cans. Waste Pro will service those cans through the end of the year, collect their old cans, so you don't have to have 4 cans for all of the bears to enjoy. And then in the new year, FCC will begin collecting the solid waste from those cans. And we're doing everything we can to make it a smooth transition as possible.
Okay. Thank you. And then I have a question for Clay.
He hopes it's about World War II.
Okay.
Morning, John.
Clay, best fighter plane of World War II?
I'm sorry.
Best fighter plane of World War II?
Probably the P-51 Mustang.
I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah.
So I am obviously, and we've talked about this, but I still have people raising concerns about the lead issue in the water, and 5,000 requests for a test would indicate that it's also a concern in the public. Want to ask y'all, in as I mentioned, we've talked about this, but I've had several people who still feel, and a couple of experts are saying this too, that they would not drink city water until it's tested for lead and you get the results back. To be absolutely clear, y'all are telling folks that this water is safe to drink, right?
It meets EPA drinking water standards and is acceptable for consumption. If that were not the case, we would not have lifted the boil water notice. Now, if people have concerns about lead exposure, especially if they're pregnant, nursing, or have children under 6, they're free to use bottled water for consumption or to install a filter certified by the National Sanitation Foundation to reduce lead. But no, the water meets EPA drinking water standards and is acceptable for consumption. If that were not the case, we would not have lifted the boil water notice.
And then the other part of that is folks have asked if y'all kind of wish you would have done the messaging differently on this or gotten the word out earlier about the potential for lead in the water.
Sure. So, I mean, I think we rolled out the messaging 4 to 5 days after we got the last of the sampling results back. We wanted to have the clearest picture possible of how our corrosion control was holding up after being absent. And I think out of 25 sites sampled, 7 had a lead hit on the first draw, meaning the water came straight out of that tap after sitting in it for several weeks. I think that's pretty strong evidence that corrosion control was holding up at that point. There is some EPA literature out there that says corrosion control, especially if systems use zinc orthophosphate, can last well in excess of 30 days. We operated with the best information that we had at the time, and we wanted to have a full and complete picture of the distribution system before we rolled any kind of messaging out.
Okay. And could you update us on turbidity at North Fork?
It is 13.8 as of 10 a.m. this morning. Slowly but surely.
And Army Corps still on for early December to have their project?
Army Corps is still on late November, early December. It's starting to look like it's going to be the late November part of that. There was some preliminary plans to maybe get that system up and running early next week. I don't know if that's certain, still early December is still in play. But from everything we've learned that this week, that system could possibly be operational early next week.
All right. Thank you.
Sure.
I had a quick question for Bob Haynes. Possible?
Yeah, Bob's going to come up. John, one more follow-up on your question about the solid waste. I saw a question in the Facebook chat while I stepped away about who the solid waste transition applies to. This is only to current Waste Pro subscribers, unincorporated Buncombe County. If you get trash service through your municipality, including City of Asheville, please do not sign up for FCC Environmental. You will not be changing. It's only the current Waste Pro customers. So if your trash can is 2 colors right now, it was going to be 1 color. You're one of those people.
Yes, go ahead.
Hey, thank you. You had said that 160 households or families were helped by a FEMA housing program, but I wonder if you could expand on that. I didn't, I guess, write down the name of the program correctly.
Yeah, that link was through the FEMA assistance. Can we get that link posted back up there possibly? Yeah, that's where the households, they make application to the FEMA, and if FEMA grants that, they provide, temporary housing, travel trailers, temporary HUD listed homes, rental assistance.
So it encompasses a lot of different sorts of temporary housing, not just, for example, like an RV on the person's property.
That is correct.
And just another point of clarification, this is different than the number of households who are currently in hotels and other housing offerings. These are 160 households approved for FEMA housing options. And so that would be more relative to their property or the vicinity of their property. Of course, we don't have to build it on the property, but housing options like those trailers that we were excited to announce the keys had been distributed to the residents a couple weeks ago. I think it might be 3 weeks, 2, 3. I don't know what time it is anymore.
Gotcha. And that's 160 approvals. Do you know how many have been set up or given out?
I know that we have issued right at 20 permits so far. And we keep getting applications for permits for those temporary units daily.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, additional questions?
We have some in the social media chat for Clay. Clay, when can people expect that first water bill, and will it start fresh or will it pull from the old for the amount of water they've used since the last bill?
So billing, we started reading meters at various points of the city after we lifted the boil water notice to get a baseline. And so the baseline will cover everything after November the 18th. Our meter techs, obviously can't read all of the meters in a day or even a week. And so that's going to be staggered a little bit. I will have a lot more detail about this on Monday during my presentation, but the long and the short of it is customers are not going to be charged for any usage before the boil water notice was lifted. Now, there are base fees on the water bill for stormwater, sanitation, MSD. And so it's not just the water bill. There are 4 things on that water bill that fund 4 different functions of city government.
The second question is from a viewer who noticed her water had an odor last night. What should she do?
She should call customer service at 828-251-1122, and we'll send somebody out to check it out.
No additional questions in the chat. Anyone else? Last call. Thank you, Blue Ridge Public Radio, for your segment this morning about the proper way to pronounce pecan pie. It solved a debate in my household. One last second. So, reminder, we won't be here tomorrow or Friday. We'll be closed for the holidays. You can visit buncombeready.org or our social media pages for important updates. We will be transitioning our buncombecounty.org website back to its old look. So more graphics, more images, requires more bandwidth, but we will be keeping buncombeready.org as that text-based site. So bookmark Buncombe Ready. We update it frequently after these briefings to make sure that the most up-to-date information is housed there. Make sure you sign up for our BC alerts by texting BC alert to 99411. Again, that's BC alert to 99411. Doesn't matter if it's uppercase or lowercase, it will work. And then we can make sure that we are sending you notices from the county. Another note for starting next week, our community briefings are going to go to 3 days a week. They will take place on Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 11 a.m. And that will be our new schedule moving forward. As we progress in our recovery path, we will look to continue to scale those down, but beginning next week, they will be 3 days a week only, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays at 11 a.m. As we continue to recover from this hurricane, we have a lot to be grateful for, a lot to be thankful for, a lot to remember. But we are especially grateful for our neighbors who are lending a helping hand. We're seeing community providers like Bear's Smokehouse who are doing community feeding for the foreseeable future, and that is deeply impactful. We are really grateful for our first responders, everyone from our paramedics, our firefighters, our law enforcement, our 911 folks, especially. Really want to make sure that we are being deliberate in extending our gratitude to those individuals. And certainly everyone who shares our commitment to rebuild together. From all of us at Buncombe County, we wish you a safe and happy holiday. If you're driving, check drivenc.gov before you go. And with that, we will see you here on Monday at 11 a.m.